I wanted to make sure that we paid tribute to a real American badass.
Yes.
I heard about this a few days ago, and I was like, well, we definitely got to talk about this. And they tied it in here on Not the Bee with a whole epidemic of self-deletion in the SEAL community. If you guys have heard of this guy,
it's happening.
Navy SEAL Mike Day.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2007, he was in a firefight in Fallujah. He took 27 bullets and shrapnel from a grenade, and somehow not only kept fighting, but killed all the dudes who were trying to kill him.
Yep.
And made it back home.
That's a bad motherfucker.
Unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, he decided to evict from his meat suit. Gary Sinise here, he's always been very big with
yes,
the military guys. 13 days ago, America lost a great American hero, U.S. Navy SEAL, retired Silver Star recipient Mike Day. Mike was shot 27 times in a gunfight in Iraq in 2007, and I had the privilege of visiting him in the hospital shortly thereafter. Just an amazing guy. So there's Lieutenant Dan and Mike Day. Mm. And this guy, Froggy here, he's also a veteran. Was talking about how he's heard about this happening all over the place. CEO of ST1 at Christmas, followed by an East Coast junior officer, Mike Day. And then over the Easter holiday, a CL-06 attempted to OD, but fortunately failed. Mighty Oaks FDN is experiencing explosive demand for the Men's Legacy program with 800 plus on the waiting list. And this is happening throughout SOCOM. But what really stuck out for me among this tweet thread is this right here. And I think that a lot of veterans out there can identify with this. Oh, sorry about that. For myself, the anxiety I'm experiencing lately is related to watching a nation I once served and admired turning violently against its principles. Perhaps it never really had them. My military career feels like wasted time now.
Uh-huh.
Well, when you look around at what's going on, about how, the upper tiers of government are embracing Marxism.
Correct.
You can't really fault them.
Well,
I'm talking about for this.
Oh, for
thing.
Froggy.
I'm not talking about for self-deleting. I'm talking about
no.
for this.
I mean, he's caught in the combat feedback loop.
Yeah.
And I just literally, I brainstormed this on the board here, just for an explanation of just a brief, quick explanation of what goes on. All right. So over here you have home. And over here you have war. Okay? They mobilize you. They send you over to war. And, as a Tier 1 SEAL, and this also applies to a lot of the guys who actually went there with combat jobs.
Yeah.
All right, you see a lot of chaos. All right, you deal with a lot of pain, death, fear. And another thing that was almost, I would say, equally as destructive was toxic leadership.
Dina.
Yeah, that was stateside, but I have seen all kinds of toxic, incompetent motherfuckers in charge of people, making all kinds of horrible decisions, which ramps up all of this stuff. Now, while you're over there, and it's amazing how the human mind does it, but the human mind actually adapts to this environment. I did a whole video on PTSD about it, where I showed what your brain is like before you go to war and what it's like after. And once you come back from war, it doesn't go back. You are always forever going to be adapted to this environment until your dying fucking day.
Which explains why your brain doesn't filter out stimuli it doesn't want.
Yeah. And then you come back from war, you're at home, and you're expecting peace, contentment, stability, and dare I say, a little bit of boredom. Okay, but a lot of problems spring up over here, such as PTSD. Because this stuff here, people think it doesn't bother you. You have a buffer in your brain. Once you get exposed to enough of the shit, you're going to get that. All right. Then you have the mind adapted to living in a war zone. And one of the things that still plagues me is one of the mental tricks that I had to do to keep doing my job every day is I had to realize that I was already dead. That, I'm just a walking corpse. I'm already dead. Let's just do what we got to do. All right. But you got to be careful with that. And I didn't know this at the time. When I came back from Iraq, I have never been able to turn that off. All right. Then you have family crap, divorce, other mental disorders that come along with all this tension, like depression and anxiety, all exacerbates in this. And all it really takes, the thing that keeps a dude going here is hope. All right. Now, you stay here and you're at home and you think everything is supposed to be hunky-dory. You're watching the country implode. You see people, basically gearing up for a two-way rifle range, and you know it's coming. You have problems getting divorced, kids, judges. You have everyone and their mother in your fucking face, and you think, well, maybe I'll get a fair deal in court because I'm a veteran. They hate those guys the worst.
Right. Yeah, it sure didn't help you.
Yeah, so, it almost got me. And the only reason it didn't is a former commander killed himself like 4 or 5 days before I was planning to do almost the exact same thing at the exact location. He just picked a place that was more scenic than I did. That's it. But, this can happen to anyone. All right? And another thing, I talked to all kinds of friends of mine, and throughout the years, people have gone to combat, and they always complain about this one thing. While they're home, they want to go to war. And while they're at war, all they want to do is go home. And they're literally stuck in this, their mind is stuck in a limbo between these two things. Coupled with PTSD, loss of hope, the fear, pain, trauma, the toxic leadership. And then they, it just gets to the point where a guy's like, oh, I had enough. He just lost his last dribble of hope. Like, I just buried one of my former soldiers about 3 weeks back.
Yeah.
Who literally came home, was in an argument with his wife, he said, fuck it, walked out in the front door, 380 to his head. All right. So,
That's tough, man.
Granted, I'm a grunt. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to give you all of the, fancy psychologist lingo. I'm just telling you, in a very grunt way, this is exactly what has taken place. And I have done everything in my power to try to help the vets out there. I did the PTSD one. I did the video called Lens of Depression, where when you're stuck in this mindset, every little anthill is a goddamn mountain you got to climb, and it further destroys your hope.
Yep.
That's it right there.
And then that's what's happening to these guys.
Yes. It happened to me.
They can't deal with it.
No. I wrote a whole book about it.
Yeah. So drink them if you got them. Raise one to Mike Day and all the other fallen veterans who just keep self-deleting, man. It's an epidemic. It really is.
Yep. Because, listen, to do those Tier 1 upper combat jobs, they beat the shit out of you. And they change you. And that's just the nature of the beast. They want you to be a certain way. But what most people don't realize, and this is actually mentioned in the Bible, you don't ever forget that stuff. It never goes away. Never. And the key is when you come back home, you got to learn how to harness all of this chaos, pain, and all this bullshit and put it into something positive that will assist your life. And I don't have all those answers, but that's what needs to happen.
No one's got all the answers, not down here.
No.
We do what we can. And it's really all any of us can do. We do our best.
You're absolutely correct.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.